My ex-girlfriend Olivia and I were supposed to be the perfect couple. We met in college, fell in love, and for 5 years I thought we were building a future together. I even bought a ring. I was planning to propose on our anniversary, which was just around the corner. But life, as they say, has a funny way of throwing curveballs when you least expect them. It all started on a seemingly normal Tuesday. I was finishing up a project at work, and I decided to head home early to surprise Olivia. I walked into our apartment, a bouquet of her favorite lilies in my hand, ready to see her smile. But the smile I saw wasn't for me. She was in our living room, wrapped in the arms of another man, my best friend Liam. The shock was like a physical blow, knocking the air from my lungs. The lilies fell from my hand, scattering across the floor. They both jumped apart, their faces a mixture of guilt and panic. But then, something strange happened. As I stood there, speechless and heartbroken, a small, cold smile crept onto Olivia's face. It wasn't a happy smile. It was condescending, almost triumphant. "Ethan," she said, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. "I was going to tell you." Liam just stood there, unable to look me in the eye. But it was Olivia's smile that shattered me more than the betrayal itself. It was as if my pain was a source of amusement to her. That night, I packed my bags and left. The next few weeks were a blur of anger and grief. The image of that smile was burned into my mind. I knew I couldn't just let it go. I needed them to understand the depth of the pain they caused. Not with shouting or violence, but with something colder, something more permanent. Revenge is a dish best served cold, after all. And that's when the plan started to form. Olivia had always been obsessed with her social standing and her career. She worked at a prestigious marketing firm, climbing the corporate ladder with ruthless ambition. Her entire identity was tied to her professional success and the curated image she presented to the world. Liam, on the other hand, was an aspiring photographer, desperate for a big break. Their shared ambition was probably what drew them together. I decided to use that ambition against them. Started by doing some digging. I knew Olivia had a major presentation coming up for a huge potential client, a company called Innovatech. Winning this account would mean a massive promotion for her, a director-level position she had been coveting for years. It was her entire focus. She had been working on the proposal for months, pouring all her energy into it. My first move was subtle. I still had access to some of our shared cloud accounts, things we'd forgotten to disconnect in the chaos. I found her presentation files. I didn't delete them. That would be too obvious. Instead, I made a few tiny, almost imperceptible changes. I slightly altered some key statistics in her market analysis, just enough to be wrong, but not enough to be caught by a quick review. I swapped a couple of slides in her appendix, making the data flow illogically. It was a digital time bomb set to go off when she was most vulnerable. Next, I turned my attention to Liam. He had been submitting his photography portfolio to various competitions and magazines, hoping to get noticed. His dream was to land a cover shoot for Artisan View, a highly respected photography journal. I knew he had a specific set of photos he was incredibly proud of, a series he called Urban Echoes. Using an anonymous email, I contacted a small, obscure online art blog. I sent them Liam's Urban Echoes series, pretending to be a fan who had discovered his work. I fabricated a story about how he had released them into the public domain. The blog, eager for content, published them immediately, without verifying. A few days later, I anonymously tipped off the editors of Artisan View about the blog post. According to their strict submission rules, all work had to be exclusive and previously unpublished. Liam's entry was instantly disqualified. I could almost feel his crushing disappointment, but the main event was yet to come. The day of Olivia's big presentation arrived. I knew the Innovatech CEO, a man named Mr. Harrison, was notoriously detail-oriented. He was known for tearing apart proposals that weren't perfect. I had set the stage. Now, it was time for the curtain to rise. I also did a little social engineering. I discovered that one of the junior executives on the Innovatech team was a huge fan of a niche old-school jazz musician. A few days before the meeting, I sent an anonymous gift to his office, a rare vinyl record from that musician, with a simple note that said, "An admirer of your good taste." I knew this small gesture would make him subconsciously more critical and observant during the meeting, looking to prove his worth. As Olivia presented, I imagined the scene. She'd be confident at first, gliding through her slides.
Ow.
Then, Mr. Harrison would stop her. He'd point to one of the altered statistics. "This number seems off," he'd say. "Our internal research shows something different." Olivia would be flustered, her perfect composure cracking. She'd try to recover, but then he'd flip to the appendix. "And this data doesn't seem to support your earlier claims. The flow is confusing." The junior executive, eager to impress, would chime in, pointing out another inconsistency I had planted. Her confidence would crumble, slide by slide. The perfectly constructed image of the competent, rising star would shatter in front of the very people she needed to impress most. She wouldn't just lose the account, she would lose her credibility. The condescending smile she gave me would be replaced by a look of pure, unadulterated panic. The aftermath was exactly as I had planned. A mutual friend later told me what happened. Olivia's presentation was a disaster. She was humiliated. Not only did her firm lose the Innovatic account, but her boss put her on probation. The promotion she was so sure of vanished, and her reputation within the company was left in tatters. She became known as the one who fumbled the biggest deal of the year. As for Liam, he was devastated when he found out his portfolio was disqualified. He accused other rival photographers of sabotage, never once suspecting me. His frustration grew, and from what I heard, it started causing friction between him and Olivia. Her professional failure and his artistic setback created a toxic environment. Their shiny new relationship, built on a foundation of betrayal, couldn't withstand the pressure. They started fighting, blaming each other for their misfortunes. About 2 months later, I ran into Olivia at a coffee shop. She looked tired and stressed. The confident, polished woman I knew was gone, replaced by someone who looked defeated. When she saw me, there was no smile. There was just a flicker of something in her eyes. Maybe regret, maybe hatred. I didn't say a word. I just bought my coffee, gave her a calm, neutral nod, and walked out. I didn't feel triumphant or joyful. I just felt quiet. The burning anger had cooled into a calm sense of closure. I didn't destroy her life, I just gave it a nudge. I let her own ambition and his desperation, the very things that led them to betray me, become the instruments of their own downfall. They built their happiness on my pain, and I simply returned the favor by letting them taste their own medicine. I moved on, started a new chapter, and left them to live in the wreckage they had created. That to me was the coldest and most satisfying revenge of all. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you've ever been through something similar, remember that the best revenge is living well and moving forward. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories. See you next time.